to go. Jim put some information in the chat if anybody wants to get a hold of you. And this fall, we are hoping to be offering a certificate that is focusing on entrepreneurship. So we still have a few more hoops to jump through before we can offer that, but it's going to be a fully online certificate. So news about that will be coming up soon. Okay, so let's get to it. What we're going to start with is I'm going to ask the two presenters that we have here today to first off introduce yourselves and just talk about how you got here. So just take a couple minutes. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit on the shorter side, so you have lots of time to talk about your experiences during the next hour. So Maggie, would you like to go first and just say, you know, whatever you'd like to say? Go for it.
Yeah. So I got my start in 2013. I graduated in graphic design, and she's here.
Sorry, Jenny. Thank you so much. Sorry, Maggie, we're just starting introductions. You're like about 3 seconds late, and it's all our challenges. Jenny was actually here at 1:45, and then we asked her to leave. And then, okay, sorry, Maggie, thank you very much.
Oh, you're fine. So got my start in 2013 in graphic design and moved to DC and started working there as a designer. We ended up moving to Texas a couple years after that and kept working as a designer, freelancer, and I helped a lot of brands launch and get ready to go to market and really focused on branding and identity. And yeah, so that's kind of a big reason I'm here, is I have a lot of experience in the branding and identity space and getting a service or product to market. And we moved to Boise in June of 2020, right in the middle of everything. It's a little crazy, but we're one of the lucky ones who snagged a home here. And my husband is a professor actually at Boise State with Karen, so they're good friends. And he teaches business. And I am in the MBA program right now, and I work for Alturas. And you may have heard of Alturas Homes, but I'm in the ventures part of the company, and so we buy and put equity into companies, and I help our investors figure out if the companies who are pitching to us have a viable go-to-market strategy, if they have a plan for the capital that we'll be providing them, or if I need to step in and help them create a plan to go to market or bolster their market strategy, that sort of thing.
Awesome, excellent. So you're gonna hit it from a couple of sides. So it'll be fun with the stories. Doreen, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Doreen Marr. So obviously, I'm from China. We moved to Boise like 5 years ago. My husband had got a job offer at Boise State, so we were. Yeah, he's teaching at Boise State at Kobe. So we were, and our second one was born in Boise. We always call him potato babies. So I registered our company in 2017. It's a custom manufacturer company, and I starting to pick it up in last year, 2020. It's because my kids are going to school, so I can finally have free time to do the things I'm passionate about. So I have lots of friends have difficulty to order stuff online from China. Either the quality is not right, or the shipping is delayed, and they run all different kind of problems. So I was thinking I can definitely help you, because I grew up in a city called Yiwu. It's a light manufacturing center of the world. You guys should search it up.
So just in case anybody doesn't know, can you just describe light manufacturing?
Yeah, it's just like all it's like clothing. We export 95% Christmas stuff to all over the world. So it's called WIIWU. It's a light manufacturing center. It's like everyone is small business owner plus factoring. So I can really control the quality of my client orders, and we help lots like Idaho small business to get the product they need.
Excellent. Thank you, Doreen. And Jenny, and apologies, Jenny, I will be apologizing to you forever. But anyways.
That's okay. Absolutely no problem. So my name is Jenny Hemley, and I'm with Idaho Commerce, and I'm part of, we call it the Business Retention and Expansion Team. So we work with existing Idaho businesses and communities, and we are just kind of a point of, I call myself a matchmaker. So we learn about our businesses and communities, and based on the conversation, we try to determine how we might be able to assist, whether it's commerce programs or it's connecting them to other partners or resources. So I kind of call my job is like kind of a master networker, so that I can make all these connections that I can refer businesses to. And prior to commerce, I worked at Department of Labor. So I'm pretty well versed in business needs when it comes to workforce and talent and creating teams based on their experience and my own.
Way to go. Thank you very much. I realized I expect our audience that everybody already knows me, but I'll do a brief introduction. My name is Karen Nicholas. I'm an assistant professor here. I'm a past entrepreneur, business owner, and I decided to go back to academia because being an entrepreneur is tough. So as I get older, you can see the gray/white hair. I thought this life might just be a tiny bit easier. And it's absolutely wonderful because I get to meet so many great people. I'm Canadian, so not only Doreen has an accent, I do as well. So any help that you need, if I get into any Canadianisms, like apologizing all the time, just, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the first question. I think I've warned everybody that this is really casual. So I'll start off with the first question, and I think I'm probably going to start with you, Maggie, because, let you answer. Please, everybody, jump in, go for it. I'm a major interrupter. I'll apologize for that in advance, too. But let's just keep going and have some fun with it. And how you choose to answer it. So both Maggie and Jenny, and even Doreen, you all have multiple perspectives on these questions, which I think is awesome. So really building your team, taking your product to market, a lot of it could get put in that marketing bundle. I am not a marketer, and this is great because it sounds like all of you guys are. So the first question would be, what do you know now that you wish you knew way back when? Or in Jenny's case, it might be, what do you wish that when you left the call with a new business owner, what information you'd really like was established in their brain? And Maggie, you can take it from either perspective, but go for it.
Actually, interestingly enough, I've had a couple of sessions with companies, startups that we were looking at investing in the last couple of weeks that have really given me a lot of perspective from the investor side. And one of them was this, it was terrible. It was like a 5-hour night meeting with this company, and they invited us for some strange reason. We weren't really sure why we were there, but they were trying to figure out the branding part of it. But it was, we were on the outside, so we were like, maybe this should be your thing to figure out your why, your vision behind your company. It was really strange, but they brought in this guru guy to try and figure out the vision behind the company, which is great. Every company needs a vision, but what became very apparent was that there was no one behind the product. And the product was mediocre at best, and they weren't focused on creating the best product that they could. You can market all day long. You can throw money at marketing, but if you don't have someone to fight for that product, as an investor, I should be talking someone off the ledge of getting that perfect product and spending all of their time and energy. That's what I want to see. I want to see a product that is just the best on the market, because it'll make those marketing dollars go way further. And like I said, you can spend all day long trying to market a mediocre product. At the end of the day, it's not going to beat out a great product. And you can spend all day long coming up with a vision, but you really need that product to go and bring that vision to life.
So how long did it take you, and I'm already hanging a left turn, but oh well. How long did it take you to figure out that the product wasn't good?
Not long at all.
So that's something for our audience. Is I think to me it's quite amazing how people with experience looking at different products can pick holes pretty quickly. Doreen or Jenny, and I should probably pick one of you, but which one would like to chime in here on any of the aforementioned conversation?
I can piggyback on what Maggie said, kind of on the opposite end. I've worked with businesses who have an amazing product. We work with, say, some engineers that are brilliant in creating things and developing things, and they have this amazing product, but they didn't have the foresight to put together a strong team that balanced their skills. So they have this product, but they themselves don't have the business skills or the marketing skills or the branding skills to really push the company forward to succeed. So, you know, sometimes the product developer who starts the business, they just need to be aware that, okay, they need to be aware of their strengths, and then they need to figure out how to create a team that complements them with the other skill sets that they're lacking.
Yes. And this is going to, Doreen, I'm going to let you go there, and then this is going to loop right into the next point. So what do you think, Doreen?
I think like for me, in the past year, what happened to me is I always thought like, so it's a company, it's a traditional model. Like if you are in USA, you want a product that manufactured in China, so you will talk to US agent. Then US agent will find a China agent. Then China agent will find a factory. So I had a pitch to my client, and I said, I basically will be the Chinese agent and American agent combined. So
Yes.
I can save you lots of money.
Yes.
What he said make me really interesting is he told me that's not the issue. The issue, he rather go with the US agent first because he can have better customer service. So he's like, if I can definitely talk to the China agent by myself, but I'm afraid if they deliver the wrong product or low quality product, I can return all the product. But if I go through the US agent, I have guaranteed the better customer service. Then back then, since that day, I will not say I'm a Chinese American combined agent. I will give you, my guarantee is I have better customer service, better community.
Isn't that interesting? So in essence, the market told you how you should frame your service and your product versus where you thought the benefits were. I agree with you. I think it's a combined, but that's a whole different thing. So when we're talking about marketing and we're talking about the team, two questions that I'd like to ask. Trying to get someone in-house or outsourcing. So historically, for me and in my businesses, we would outsource a lot of that. We didn't have the skill in-house. We weren't large enough to support an in-house marketing team, so we would outsource it. It's always a challenge finding the best outsourcers. And it's to me always that yin and yang. Do I want to have more control over it and have the people in-house, or do I want to theoretically save money and hire experts and do it outsourcing? Who would like to offer an opinion? And if we could get conflicting opinions, it's always a good.
Okay, so I think so Elie Pomo, it's a really small company. Basically, it's me right now, but I'm outsourcing all my research. So I have so many clients require all different kind custom manufactured product. I can personally find like thousands product for each clients. So I outsource all my product to the manufacturers. So I have friends who work in LED light chip for like 20 years. So she helped me find all the LED related product. And I have friend who's in medical field, so he can help me find all the like mask, different kind mask, custom product. And I don't pay them, but each sale they take a percentage, and they're happy about it.
Yes. Maggie or Jenny, how do you feel about the outsourcing in-housing?
I've been, as a service provider, I've done both. I worked as a designer on an in-house team, and then I did my own freelance work. And there are definitely pros and cons to each. But if I were a business owner just starting out, I would definitely outsource. And for a couple reasons. One, you kind of have a little more leverage with the pay. You can expect a higher quality, and you can control that. If you're going to pay less, you're going to get lower quality. But if you really want to go after that higher quality service, you can expect that with the higher pay. And there are just liabilities that you take on when you hire someone as a full-time employee, even a part-time employee. That's a lot of liability to take on as a business. And so I think it's good to test the waters with outsourcing, hiring freelancers or service providers, and also being on an internal creative team. It can get pretty stagnant pretty quick. And I think as an outsourced creative person, you kind of get more fresh ideas from outsourced creative. That's my point of view.
Way to go. Now, Jenny, as the matchmaker in the team.
So I mean, I agree with both. I think it depends where you're at as a business and whether or not you have the ability to hire in-house. But one thing to think about when you actually hire an employee, if you do the hiring right, which, you know, that's always hard to do sometimes. But if it works out, it's like, you know, your employees have more buy-in and they're more committed. So you have that aspect of it. And then you create that internal team where you're both as committed and working towards the same vision and goals. So there's that side of it as well. I don't think either way is wrong. I think it just depends on what works for you and where you're at in your business and what you can afford.
There's a lot of the affordability, right? Yeah. So we had a question in the chat. So what do you consider makes a strong team? My emphasis. How do you identify it was a poor team? And I would even say that with the outsourcing, right? Because we've had outsourcers where at the end of it, we've gone, well, that was okay, but do I know? And your point, Maggie, did I pay enough? Did I set the expectations correctly? So it's all these things, especially as a new entrepreneur. How do you figure out if you've done well or you're doing poorly? We won't get into how to fire employees. That'll be a totally Take the HR course at Boise State to learn how to do that. But what makes a strong team? And it's always fun. And of course, there's no correct answer on any of this, right? So any war stories that you have are always.
Can I answer?
Go for it.
So for me, I've always been, I'm a team-oriented person, so I've always been part of a team versus a kind of a solo team of one. But with experience, it's all about like that diversity of your team. So you bring different perspectives and ideas. You know, like my current team right now, we have, you know, I'm more the relationship connector type personality, the extrovert. But I have another member on the team who he's an introvert, and he is amazing with data and research and analytics. And we need that on our team. And if you put me in a role like that, I will fail miserably and I will not help your business succeed. So, and then we have another team member who she likes task-driven skills. She wants her marching orders and then she's going to go do it. And so the three of us, we all have the same job title, but we all do it so differently. And then when we come together to strategize and collaborate and brainstorm, we have all those different perspectives that help us become more efficient and productive.
That is such a challenge too. So I've worked with a number of organizations, and it's so hard for people not to hire in their own image. That's usually what happens, right? So the extrovert wants to hire other extroverts because it's fun. Like,
Right.
you know, it's,
Right.
and engineers tend to like other people with big brains. So, or engineering brains, I shouldn't say, but, and it tends to go that way. Those are some great points. I don't know if anybody can hear that. We seem to have some construction going on. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Maggie, would you like to chime in?
I would just echo that 100%. I spent 5 years being a solo freelancer and kind of jumping into teams, into these companies, and having to work with their marketing departments and their executive teams, and then, but not really getting to be a part of it. So I got used to being a solo person for so long, and then jumping back into Alturas, where it is very tight knit. We have our division, it's 3 people. It's really small. But we have that diversity where I'm the only female on the team, but we each have our own personalities, where our director is that relationship builder and that connector. I'm the creative marketing sort of person, and then we have our pragmatic numbers guy. And sometimes that does bring its problems where
it's waiting for that to come up. It's like, you know,
yeah, they're bound to come up in a team, and it hasn't been that long, but you really just need to learn how each other works and how you can work with each other's strengths, and even pick up the slack where, you know, our numbers guy, he's not going to see these creative things that are missing, but then I'm there to see it. So making sure that your team fills these different holes that you may have and provides various needs that your team is going to have.
Way to go. Doreen, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I totally agree with Maggie and Jenny. I think a team is like something you're not good at. A team should take over and help you to grow. That's so. So Elie Pomo, we do like custom manufactured product. I personally don't know all the product detail. That's why I really need a team who knows what they're doing, who knows the product so well, so then I can sell to the clients here, and I can face to face. But without their help, their knowledge, I couldn't do that to my clients.
And I love your business model, Doreen, because you don't have to pay them up front. So anything that you can get, you know, once the sale is coming through, everybody's kind of happy typically to share the pie once the pie is made. Yeah. It's always nice to do it then. Oh, here we go. Jenny, Clifton Strength Finders. Thank you. That was actually going to be my next thing, was what are some good tools? So in the past, we've used Social Styles, and Social Styles is, I call it this much better than getting your tea leaves read, but it gives you an idea of whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, whether you're more focused on data or the big picture, details or the big picture and things like that. So Clifton Strengths Finders is a great thing. If anybody being Alessandra or Miranda, could find their website and get some information on it. I think any tool like that you can do to learn more about yourself, to really think about where your strengths are, is awesome. Okay.
Comment?
Yes.
So when I was at Department of Labor, so this personality assessments and stuff was very important to us, because it's critical. Like when we help people find careers, it's important for us to understand our job seekers so we can help place them in things that will maximize their strengths, not their weaknesses. And so there was one assessment, it's called the Color Code, and you can find a book on it. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's similar to the Strength Finders, but it categorizes you in different like colors. It's red, blue, white, and yellow. And it talks about like, you know, the red is maybe more the type A personality. The white is more of a passive that doesn't like conflict. Yellow is driven by fun, and blue is kind of more the detail-oriented type person, very compassionate personality. Obviously, there's more to it than that. But we would all take it as consultants, and we would post our little pie chart outside of our cube. So when you're going into a cube where, say, somebody's predominantly red, maybe more type A, you go in there and you know how to like have a conversation, like be very direct, be very specific, you know, and if they're direct with you, don't take it personal. Just things like that. So it helps you kind of gauge how to interact with your coworkers.
And that is a big issue. It is always, and in every workplace, right? No matter what. Yeah, those things are fun. We've got another question, and thank you, Vlada, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name somewhere close to correct. When your team is different, oh, I am, thank you. When your team is different, you want your values to be aligned. So, and I'm going to add a question onto this one. So Vlada says, what values do you think are important to be aligned on? And mine is, because I've always had challenges with this, and I think it's a perpetual challenge, how the heck do you figure out somebody's values quickly? So anybody want to jump in at that one? Yes, Jenny, go for it. You're right. It is about company culture. Just speak. We can interrupt. Go for it. So, but how do you? A lot of entrepreneurs. I'm just going to talk about our audience, and I'm making generalizations. So, apologies for those who don't fit in. But odds are our audience is under 25, are at school right now, and don't necessarily know how to do this. So, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, company culture is so different everywhere. You know, right now, you know, I work for the state and it's during legislative session. And so we may have legislators come in and out. So our culture during legislative session is very formal and very traditional in what you wear and all of it. It loosens up a little bit after legislative session, but a lot of our small, like I typically work with small businesses and manufacturers, and their culture is very relaxed and informal, and it very wears jeans and t-shirts, and it's, like I said, it's on the informal side. And then you have the entrepreneurs that are trying to create just a more maybe kind of work family environment where you're really getting to know each other as not just coworkers, but friends, and learn about each other's families. And maybe you take Friday afternoons to connect as a team with maybe some training, or just a quiet, like, share snacks and drinks. I don't know, you know.
Yep.
So it just depends. And, you know, do you have an open door policy? Things like that. There's lots of different ways to create it. I'd love to hear what the other gals have to say.
Well, that's it. And Maggie, because to me, marketing is a little bit more filled with extroverts. I'm trying to be somewhat appropriate, but oh well. While you're at Alturas, and to me, investment is a little bit, if we're talking about color coding, you know, investors, it's all about the numbers, right? And I tend to put myself in that one versus the extroverts. So how did you find the switch, and how did you figure out what Alturas's culture was, and how have you found the switch, aside from your other experiences? Go wherever you want to take it.
It's interesting. You would think that it would be much more formal and numbers based than it actually is, but really investors really invest in the people. If they like an entrepreneur, they will invest in that entrepreneur over a product or over a company. And investors tend to stick with the person. And going along with that, which values I think would be important to align on. And I totally agree, culture and figuring out that culture is super important, and creating that culture. It's very hard to do. Walking that line of being appropriate business-wise, but also, you know, nurturing relationships and creating something more than just, hi, I'm your coworker. And you don't want to go to work every day, spend 8 hours a day with, or, you know, more probably, with people who are like just a formal relationship. You're spending a lot of time with these people. And a lot of it is fit, personality, and like we said, diversity of thought. Those are very important. And then finding those values that you align on. Like Alturas is very focused on work-life balance and making sure that we're not too formal. I really only wear nice, fancy clothes when we have investors or big companies coming in when we're interviewing people. But other than that, we're a jeans and t-shirt kind of company. And figuring that out, if you're the entrepreneur, I think, and I know I bashed on vision and that sort of thing a little earlier, but I do think it's important. I think it's very important. But I think figuring that out early, and there are so many resources online on how you can implement strategies when you're looking for your team, and implement strategies that bolster your vision as a company. And I think we all know every company is different, just like Jenny was saying, that where you have your Googles of the world, where they have their cool offices and their like ping pong tables and that sort of thing. But then you have the more formal, whether it's government or corporate, where they don't necessarily focus on those things. They focus on the traditional, retirement benefits, healthcare benefits, that sort of thing. So figuring out where you want your company to be, where you want your values to be, is very important in the beginning, so that you can begin to build your culture and make sure that it's clear to your team when you're hiring people if they fit that value and culture.
So I think we're saying that the values are really up to you to figure out what's important for you. Doreen, how would you like to add to that, or what are your experiences?
Yeah, for me, it's a little different because I have the time gap in China. So like when I pick when I pick our team, it's important for me. It's, normally the work time is 10 to 6 or 10 to 5. So if you US side, if you want to talk to the manufacturer, you have to, it's middle night of your time if you want to talk to them. But
Yes.
if all our team are part-time job and they take a percentage, so they can work from home from 6 to 9 o'clock. So that's a perfect time for us. It's afternoon. So I can really balance all the time work. And for the culture thing, I would say, like, if I want our team to find a product, he will find a product, but he brought me back 10 more product. He think it's a top 10, the client will like, and all the other client will be interesting. So I will think he will bring more values to me than a person just bring back one product that client ask.
Yes. So, and you have the fun part too, Doreen, if you have two different country cultures. Yeah. So I was, as being a Canadian, our culture is relatively close to the US. I know, it's always fun for everybody to joke, and I take them, all jokes about Canadians. But it is a much easier bridge to gap. There's not as much. So what did you find when coming to the culture to the US and working with US business people? How did you find that transition?
So I feel more like US people, you care about the quality and the customer service. Unlike in China, we care about faster produce. Like,
okay, it's all about the speed.
Yeah, it's all about the speed. Like we can produce your product in 10 days, no problem, and we're gonna ship out. You don't have to worry about. But I think US people will care about, we want really good quality, and we don't want you to do super fast and not doing a good job.
Okay, so just a different emphasis on what's required.
Yeah.
Cool. So we were talking about values and hiring for values. I'm going to try and go back a little bit, loop around. This is what happens when we, keep going left. Let's come all the way back to the team. So to me, there's a lot of really important things in running a business, but most entrepreneurs, I don't think, have the marketing skills. And the other one I don't think they have are the finance and accounting. And we could smush in legal in there. So it's like keeping yourself in you know, talking about hiring an employee, making sure you have all the payroll taxes and all that, keeping yourself out of the limelight of the IRS was always the primary goal. And I would suggest that it should be for most entrepreneurs. For American citizens, I think it's a little bit easier because there's this thing called S-Corps, which means it can be run through your personal income tax, which as a foreigner is not an option. Do you guys have any recommendations or any examples of finding good CPAs or bookkeepers or lawyers? Because again, in my experience, which has been over 20 years, I've had the full range of just absolutely awesome to the, oh my goodness, I hope this works out and we really don't get, you know, in deep doo-doo. Jenny, do you mind if I start with you, just because you'll have you're probably trying to recommend that. And actually, I think I would be very nervous if I were you recommending a CPA to someone.
I know for us, I mean, part of creating your team, you have obviously your immediate staff team, but you also have your external partners, which is what you just said, whether they're CPAs or attorneys. You know, you've got your SBDC, anyone that's going to help coach or mentor you. And it's all, for me, it's all about networking. You know, people do business with people they like and trust. And so it's about establishing those relationships, and the more you're out there and meet people and maybe you get several referrals to the same person, it's like, okay, that's a trusted person in my social network, so I will reach out to them. So that's how we operate, especially if a business is asking for a connection like that. I end up sending them to somebody I've met several times that I know has had really good follow through and well respected.
So if you were a new entrepreneur, I'm going to go with Maggie. I'm going to say Maggie and I, because Doreen's been here a little bit longer. And we're going to start a new business. Now we can come to you and get your referrals. What are some good ways to find people? And we might want to do during COVID and after COVID, because very different worlds. But how would we find people in Boise, other than coming to you, Jenny, or is that the prime way?
Yeah, it's any way. I mean, you can come to us at Commerce. You can Department of Labor. I mean, LinkedIn. I find a lot of connections on LinkedIn. Like when I meet somebody, I'm a stalker. I'm a very healthy stalker. When I meet people, I always go to their LinkedIn to learn about them and see what mutual connections we have. And sometimes I reach out to those mutual connections whom I know better, and I'll ask, like, oh, do you know so-and-so? What can you say about them? So.
Awesome. So creating your network, using your network. Do you know the Boise Chamber of Commerce? I know nothing about it, and I probably shouldn't have just plucked that question out of midair. But just curious, I've been to Chamber of Commerces in other cities, and sometimes they can be a great way to find other small businesses.
It really is. And with all their members, and they have so many networking events and engagement events to meet different members, it's a great way to get referrals to those types of services. I'm curious, Maggie, since you haven't been here long, how are you doing your networking?
So actually, this is my time to shamelessly plug. One of my big projects at Alturas is launching Built in Idaho, and we have a website right now, builtinidaho.org, and we're building a community of startups, entrepreneurs, business owners, and the whole point is to get them connected to capital providers or service providers. And we're in the very beginning stages. We just launched in October. We're on LinkedIn, and I just opened the Twitter, which Twitter is, it's too much. I can't, it's 24/7. I'm not a Twitter person. I have to be now, but it's a whole, I'm there now, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But I'm learning about that part of it. But I've been kind of thrown into the Idaho ecosystem of investors and entrepreneurs very quickly. And I'm meeting a lot of people because we actually have pitch days with the ventures division where we invite entrepreneurs to give their pitches to us, and then we kind of help them refine their pitches. So also another shameless plug, if any of you are entrepreneurs and want help with your pitches, feel free to email me. I'll drop my email in the chat, and we'd love to have you come in and help you with your deck and your pitch. But anyways, going back to Built in Idaho, I am working on a directory of startups and capital providers, and it's an exhaustive list of Idaho startups and capital providers. And our hopes with that is to help entrepreneurs get access to investment information, so they can look up, oh look, this startup got $1 million. They were able to raise $1 million in 2018, so maybe we could do it. And along with that, we're going to launch a service provider directory. And going back to your Boise Chamber of Commerce, they do have a directory where you can look up service providers by what services they offer. And every city has their own. I had to reach out to every single chamber, which was, there's a lot. And in
Idaho,
there's a lot of them. And I would also echo SBDC. They're a great resource. I don't think, and Department of Commerce, the iGEM program is amazing. I dug into that website in December and really got to know the resources that they offer. It's pretty incredible. And I don't think entrepreneurs are really taking advantage of the grants that are out there. And if you find Built in Idaho on LinkedIn, I try to share as much of those resources as possible. And you can even reach out to us. If you're looking for someone, we can help connect you with a service provider that you might need. And even just like Jenny was saying, reaching out to an entrepreneur, even if you're cold calling them, cold emailing them, entrepreneurs, they love to share war stories and talk about their products and you know, stuff like that. And I 100% echo word of mouth referral. It's just not, you're not going to get a better referral than multiple word of mouth referrals. Oh, and Built is live. It's launched. The directory we're planning on launching that end of February. We do have a newsletter. I'm terrible at getting it out. I get it out like once a month. But we are the ones, you probably have seen the Idaho deal flow reports. We used to do them annually. Now we're moving to quarterly.
Oh,
and, yeah, we're finishing up the quarter 4 2020 report right now. So that's slotted to go out it's end of January right now, but it should be going out in the next week or so. And we're kind of tying in that resource and making it more interactive and something that entrepreneurs can actually use. And that we just want to know, really our main goal is how we can connect entrepreneurs to resources, whether that's capital, whether that's human capital, service, that sort of thing.
That's awesome. So Alessandra and Miranda have the builtinidaho.org link up and the LinkedIn. Awesome. And continuing the shameless plugging, Jenny, please feel free to put any website, and Doreen, website, LinkedIn, anything that you want to support. Because one of the things that's going to be fun is that linking all the places to link together. So, you know, the more access points, I think, for entrepreneurs, the better, right? So we're just trying to give as many as possible. If I were an entrepreneur, I would be tempted to go to multiple sources and see who keeps getting the best referrals out of all of them. It's kind of like a TripAdvisor, not quite, but you know what I mean.
Maggie, I think, have you heard about Idaho Women Business Center? It's going to be a great fit for you.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I feel like the entrepreneur journey, it's quite lonely if you first start all by yourself, you know. So I joined like Idaho Women Business Center like a year ago when they just start. they have all different classes. Like they have like 6 weeks class for how you build your website, how you do your tests, how you sell your product, how you get a loan. They have all different kind class resource to help you. Back then makes me feel like excited. I'm finally not alone by myself sitting in the basement, like small office my husband made for you. So I feel like outside of the world, there are a bunch of people just like me and doing all our own things, and we stay together and we help each other and we make each other conference. It's a great community.
Awesome. I'm going to put a plug in. It's a slightly different one. There's a National Association of Women Business Owners that we are going to be offering some student memberships to by the time of our March session. And yes, we haven't announced our March session yet. It's a secret still. We're still working on it, is what that means. But there are an amazing amount of opportunities that are out there. So I think we kind of covered the taxes and accountants, and I think my big what I'd want to make sure every entrepreneur knows is make sure you have professional help. Just no matter what, it is so worth it, because, and this is worldwide, whether it's CRA, which is the Canadian Revenue Association, I don't think it's the association, but anyway, CRA is the Canadian version of the IRS. I'm sure China has the same one. You always want to stay on the good side of the tax people. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the stress. So get some help up front. One other question that we had, this is going to be a little bit of a sidebar, and this is coming from a student, and sorry, student, Angel and Hal, I think we've talked before, right? How to connect with entrepreneurs as a student who may want to be an intern or be an employee and is not ready to be that leap of an entrepreneur yet. How to get out there and network and find prospective employers, and especially during COVID. So we have a lot of students that are going to be graduating that just aren't going to have the same opportunities as students. Now it's a year and a half ago. Any recommendations? I'll just let that one go wide open.
Actually, part of the Built in Idaho future initiatives is to build out an intern bench or a talent bench where we have students, not just from Boise State, from all over the state, who will be looking for interns. And we're still kind of prototyping that. But you can email me if you are looking for a specific intern or type of internship. I would say email me, and we can see, we have a ton of connections. So we can see if we can find something that would work for you. But I would say entrepreneurs or business owners, and this is a blanket statement, but a lot of times they are so busy. They just have so many things going on every day. So showing that you're excited about a company and that I wouldn't say that you're willing to work too hard, but that you just showing that you could be committed to a company and that you've done your homework. And I would say reach out on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to do that. Our CEO gets hundreds of LinkedIn messages a day, and the people who keep coming back and show that they're not just a sales guy and that they have done their homework on Alturas get his attention. And I've logged into his LinkedIn to help him move some things around. And every time I log in, I'm like, this is insane. You have, your little red number is like 54 right now. You have 54 unread messages on LinkedIn. And that's not abnormal for someone who has a high visibility. So I would say just showing that you are actually interested in providing value and coming up with a way to show that how you're going to provide that value to a business owner is very important. And just, straight up networking. LinkedIn has become a great tool during these COVID times, but also just reaching out to the people that you do know and making sure that they know that you're looking for a position and what kinds of positions you're looking for is super important.
And actually these tips and are working if you want to start your own service industry. Like Maggie, if you were starting back up into the doing graphic arts, you're probably going to do the same thing. I could help this small company. Let me talk with them and say, hey, I see your website might need a refresh, or however you would politely say that. Let me help you with that. Jenny, how do you feel about that? This might go back to your labor job, right? Versus your commerce.
Yeah, for internships, well, I know, or to Maggie's point, back in the day when I was at labor and trying to help job seekers with research, it was all about like informational interviews, which is kind of like what Maggie's saying, but more in a virtual world. But back then it was more in person, where you just go in and you're basically interviewing the company to learn more about them. And it also gets you an introduction to them. You're not asking for a job. You're just there showing interest in what they do and learning more about it. And then the more opportunities you have to connect with them, I always, I don't push things per se, but it's like, how do you get yourself in the situations where you have an opportunity to engage so that this business gets to know you?
Could you give an example? That was just so politely phrased. How could that be done? It sounds awesome. So I'm thinking, I don't know.
So for example, I had a situation. I was doing kind of an informational interview, learning about a company, had a lunch. And obviously I wasn't asking for a job. It was just like, let me get to know you and your business. And then after a meeting, it was an opportunity to say, hey, as an employee of, we'll just hypothetically, I'm just going to say, okay, commerce now. So I would love to share with your team what commerce does and how we can partner and how we can each add value for each other, because at the end of the day, say we have the same business customers. And then, you do a presentation, and then down the road, somebody on that team reaches out and says, hey, I just moved here. I'd love to learn more from you one-on-one, how you network. So some best practices for me for networking since I'm new here. So you're always kind of trying to seek out those ways to connect.
Yeah. That's excellent. Doreen, how did you find it? How did you get your first U.S. customers here?
It's through the personal networking. So do you guys use Nextdoor?
Nextdoor, yeah.
So Nextdoor, like I have a neighbor who's asking get like lots like customer made t-shirts. So he's asking the manufacturers, all the people give him like super high price. So one day I saw the message. I said, oh, if you want a customer t-shirts, I can give you like $2 to $3 one t-shirt. And he's like, you can get that low? I was like, yeah, just talk to me. Then he came to our house and I made my first sale.
Awesome. So it's any of these online platforms, and this was 3 or 4 years ago now, so i.e. pre-COVID days, when people were still actually communicating face-to-face more, but still using those online networks. So I think the answer I think that I've heard is, what did you call it, Jenny? Healthy stalking.
Yeah.
I like that, healthy stalking. Don't go into the unhealthy side. So stay and be a healthy stalker. Do some background research. Know what's going on, as Maggie was saying. Make sure you understand what the company's about and show that you can add value, or find ways to illustrate that you have some value to add, whether you're doing it as a outsourcer or a potential employee. And Doreen, I think, is in that know your product as well and be very, very confident. And I think you've all emphasized that. And Meg, you started that off with saying a bad product is a bad product. So we're going to go with the assumption that we've got a good product here, because otherwise there's nothing that can help a bad product. And yes, that's a shame. So we are at 1 o'clock. Theoretically, we end somewhere in the neighborhood of now. I'm just going to make sure we don't have any open questions. And then I'm going to offer everyone to do the shameless plug. Doreen, I think you're one of the ones that has not talked about your company. Just a comment to Vlada, Maggie's email is in the chat. I did see it. She was, I'm pretty sure, a very brave soul to put that in there. So
I think someone accidentally put our chats to just the panelists and not attendees. I know I did that by mistake.
Oh,
I did that a couple times.
so if Miranda and Alessandra, if you guys could play with that. Sorry, so attendees, we do have a lot of information for you that somehow has not gotten to you. We're hopefully going to just do some quick copy pasting over the other information too, if you guys can. Good. Oh, Miranda's the thing. Advice on the struggles of switching gears from building and creating to managing a team. Miranda, that is an awesome topic that we're probably going to cover in the fall, 'cause I think that's a separate hour. For me, anyways. It's moving from the entrepreneurship world to being a manager, and there's a lot of research on the challenges of that, especially for entrepreneurs. I love that one. But if anybody'd like to hit that quickly and shamelessly plug. Doreen, would you like to shamelessly plug your company? If you want to put in your email, if just in case anybody out there wants 1,000 t-shirts, they might be organizing a fun run or something like that. One never knows what one may want.
Yeah.
I bought 3 years of Halloween handouts from China, and I ordered them in May to get them in time, and I still have some left over. So I think I bought 2,000 of whatever it was. Excellent, good, thank you. Jenny or Maggie, do you want to do a quick blurb on the switching gears from building to managing? Talk about that, or the shameless plug. I'll leave it up to you.
Maggie, I'll let you go.
Okay. I would just say on the shifting gears, just know that it is different. That I think that's really the beginning of it, and you can go from there. Is that it is a very different thing. Building your team and managing. I think getting the right managers in place and learning about management strategy. It just like you said. I mean, my husband is in it. It's a whole world of research and strategy and tactics. There are hundreds of books on it, hundreds of peer-reviewed articles on it. So there are multiple strategies that you can pick for management. I think that, but without going into another hour of talking about it, and I am not qualified to talk about it. The only thing I would say is know that they're different things, and that you need to keep that in mind as you build your team, that you will want to start thinking about management strategies.
And I think that goes back to the Clifton, there's a word in between, Clifton and Finders.
Strength finder.
Thank you. Is knowing whether you are more of an entrepreneur or more of a manager, because entrepreneurs have a separate skill set in order to start the company and then running it. Sorry, Jenny, please jump in.
Yeah, to piggyback on Maggie's comment, I'm sure most of us have had experiences with good managers and bad managers. And we can see the difference. I mean, I've had managers that are the nicest people. I love them as a friend, but as a manager, I just want to strangle them. And so I think it's the wisdom to know what your strengths are, and to have the right people in place. If you are not wired to be the coach, mentor, have the difficult discussions, if that's not what you want to focus on, bring somebody in who can.
Awesome. And Miranda put a note in. Our sponsor for this program, Hal Eastman, has written a book, and it's just a little bit, oh, thank you, Miranda. Get Hired, Grow, Lead, and Live. If anyone wants a free copy of this book, and yes, we do ship, but we are slow, just send us an email at WIE, also known as Women in Entrepreneurship, at boisestate.edu. And we will happily send you a book. We are also going to have some free giveaways. We give out some gift certificates. Just as thank yous for coming. We'll announce those winners soon. Our next talk is on funding. So we've had a wonderful preview here, certainly with Maggie, and we knew Maggie had multiple hats on her head, and thank you for coming this week. We're going to be talking about funding next session. Then it looks like on March 10th, we're going to be showing a movie about 5 women entrepreneurs, and we're going to have the director do a Q&A. So you'll be able to ask the director questions about her experience doing it. So I think we're in good shape. If anybody has some last words, that's awesome.
No,
GoSoNidaho.org.
Yeah, way to go. Go Idaho, go entrepreneurs. Thank you all very, very much for attending. Women, Doreen, Maggie, Jenny, thank you so much. We so appreciate it. All of us, me, the attendees, everybody. So thank you very much, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all hopefully in person at some point in the future.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you for the
Thank
invite.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.